Maguses are psychically gifted and possessed of a supernatural charisma. Their control of the hybrids around them is total. As a prophet of their patriarch, the word of a Magus is law, and their telepathic abilities are more than powerful enough to enforce it. Yet for all their presence and mental skill, each Magus is no more than an extension of the patriarch's will, just as the patriarch is an embodiment of the wider hive mind. A gene sect's Magus is its foremost link to the aristocracy, government, and institutions of a world. Should the dynasty find its expansion stymied by a governor or strong-minded rival, a Magus may well visit the obstinate individual in person, using honeyed words and psychic powers to either force their obedience or convert them to the cause. In moments the deed is done, and the cult has a highly placed agent instead of a difficult adversary. The web of influence woven by a Magus ensnares all levels of society, from the upper echelons of the spire-born classes to street-level Arbeitsenforcers, and even the ranks of the Astra Militarum. A Magus is born of at least one warp-touched parent. Should an infested world harbour psychically gifted individuals of the right mental calibre, the cult's purest-strained Genestealers will sniff them out and hypnotise them. Soon enough, one of these hosts will give birth to a Magus. Tall, clean of limb, and with an imposing presence, a Magus can pass for a normal human and commands respect wherever they walk. In their soul, however, they are as much a creature of the void as a member of mankind. They hold the same otherworldly power in their eyes as the patriarch they call Lord and Saviour, and are bound by the same unearthly drive to spread the cult far and wide. It is the Magus who speaks for their hidden organisation in matters both mystical and spiritual, and in many ways they are the mastermind behind the spread of the cult across its host planet and beyond. Burgeoning cults will usually have only one of these psychers at their heart, the guiding hand of the uprising. As the insurrection swells and spreads across the surface of a planet, new sites ripe for infection are located, and new gene sects founded. As the brood cycles grow anew, Maguses oversee these distant regions and the cells that operate within them. These powerful bioforms often fancy themselves rivals of their peers, believing that their gene sire favours only one of their number as his high prophet. They seek to outdo one another with ambitious acts of infamy and subversion. This is but an elaborate overture, of course, for their differences and festering grudges are immediately put aside when the uprising begins. Any illusion of autonomy fades away, and the Maguses work in perfect concert to achieve their patriarch's desires and pave the way for the coming of the Tyranids. When the hour of ascension arrives, a Magus will lead the faithful of their gene sect to battle, unleashing the full, terrible might of their psychic powers. Where once their hypnotizing gaze was employed to dominate obstinate rivals and sway them to the cult's cause, now it is used to pit their enemies against one another. Unable to resist the spellbinding influence of the Magus, blank-eyed soldiers turn their guns upon their comrades, slaughtering them with robotic indifference. Entire squads of enemy warriors are left stumbling and dazed by waves of disorienting energy, unable to react as the cult's biomorph shock troops barrel into their ranks. Commanding the Broodkin in stentorian tones, Primuses stalk through the fires of war with the surety of an alpha predator. Each is an ambush leader and frontline general, sowing destruction through the most prized targets of the enemy force. It is the duty of a Primus to show the supremacy of their kind's beliefs, rewriting the history of worlds in the blood of those who oppose them. Primuses are bombastic commanders in times of war, but whilst the cult still remains in hiding, it is their duty to spread the Genestealer curse to other planets. Their innate gift for leadership and coordination sees them militarize the cult in short order, masterminding the takeover of vehicle columns and even fleets of spacecraft. A strong champion and lauded hero amongst the Broodkin, a Primus emerges only when the cult reaches a position of strength. The foremost Xeno-scriveners of the Death Watch theorize there is a hidden imperative that results in the manifestation of a Primus. This is either triggered when the cult reaches critical mass, their numbers and influence sufficient to take over a prey world, or when a hive fleet looms on the edge of that planet's system. The particular quirk of the Genestealer life cycle that results in a Primus occurs independently, enhancing the development of an especially robust host form to produce a largely humanoid warrior of prodigious strength and tactical acumen. Standing proud and straight where their kin are hunched and gangling, a Primus cuts a dynamic figure. Where a Magus boasts a pin-sharp mental acuity and telepathic powers the equal of a space marine librarian, the Primus has a supernatural dexterity and surety of focus that can see them bring down adversaries twice their size. The war gear of a Primus complements their approaches of stealth and guile, allowing them to lay low those in their path without raising any unwanted attention. Each Primus girds themselves with the finest equipment the cult can provide, distilling toxins from their own virulent bloodstream and delivering them via silent firing needle pistols and paralytic toxin claws. Some wield strange, sentient swords thought to be grown from the bony secretions of the Patriarch's biothrone. These blades are not only symbols of the cult father's trust, but deadly weapons in their own right, capable of stealing the life energy from those they strike to leave only withered husks behind. It is the duty of a Primus to be at the forefront, uniting their gene kindred when the overriding impulses of the Patriarch and Magus are elsewhere. It takes great confidence and talent to be able to lead so disparate a force as that of the cult, uniting neophyte work groups alongside broods of ravening pure-strain Genestealers and hulking aberrants. Primuses ensure they fight as one in an overlapping network of opportunistic assaults and long-planned ambushes. When the business of war is at hand, a Magus will usually cede authority to their gene sect's Primus, knowing that their peer is literally born for war. Should that war be triggered before the cult's void-born masters descend from space, the Primus might lead their fellows from victory to victory, becoming the focus of their gene sect's adoration, whilst the Magus works in the shadows. Their preferred method of attack is to burst from an underground lair with scores of hand-picked warrior organisms at their side. The most physically powerful of the gene sect's hybrids, they move into a preordained position before bursting onto the battlefield to deliver a critical blow to a valuable target, a command node, psychic choir, or well-defended artillery battery perhaps. From the darkness the killers erupt, boiling out from sewer grates and hidden crypts with claws clacking and weapon limbs thrashing. The enemy, previously oblivious, scrambles to react to the sudden ferocity of the Primus's secret strike. So swift and certain is the Primus's assault, however, that few adversaries can land a telling blow before they are cut to pieces. Once a Genestealer cult has become well established on a host world, its spread can be all but impossible to stop. Of all the xeno-scourges plaguing the Imperium, these cult infestations are the most insidious, gathering their strength in the dark and hidden places of civilization. By the time the forces of the Imperium are aware of their presence, all too often they have already spread to another planet, infected it from within, and spread again. Each populous world forms another staging post in this elaborate conquest. Provided the Genestealer cult stays ahead of the Tyrannid hive fleet that it draws towards the rich sources of biomass it locates, a cult can theoretically spread until it has reached pandemic proportions and collapsed entire sectors of space. Even should the Tyrannids never appear, the doom of the host populations is assured.
For so long I was lost, locked in that endless cycle of darkness and futility, the daily grind we called it, waking from the hab block, eating the Risic paste, trudging to my station, working till my fingers bled. The only variation was the flickering flame of the auto-candle at my relic station, sometimes high, sometimes low. My father had died under its light, and his father before him. Then came that blessed dawn where I strayed, and in doing so, found my Saviour's kiss. Life began anew.
Genestealer, scribe 4th class of the cult, Hydraic.